Hello friends, welcome to Technique. This is Nirmal here, and in this video we're going to do a camera comparison of the Moto One Fusion Plus, which was launched recently with a 64 megapixel quad camera setup, and this has really good hardware, the Qualcomm Snapdragon 730G, and we are going to compare it with one of the really good camera centric smartphones in the sub 20k price segment, the Poco X2, again with a 64 megapixel quad camera setup and Qualcomm Snapdragon 730G. So these two devices have really good camera hardware. Now let's analyze the camera hardware first. So if you look at the Moto One Fusion Plus, it has a 64 megapixel Samsung GW1 sensor, f-stop 1.8 aperture, a secondary 8 megapixel ultra wide angle camera, a third 5 megapixel macro sensor, and a 2 megapixel depth sensor. Now the selfie camera is a pop-up selfie camera. It's a 16 megapixel pop-up selfie camera. Next, let's have a look at the Poco X2, one of the really good camera smartphones in this price segment. It has a 64 megapixel Sony IMX686 sensor, one of the really good sensors, one of the few smartphones to use this sensor in this segment. And then you get an 8 megapixel ultra wide angle camera and a 2 megapixel macro sensor, and a 2 megapixel depth sensor is included. Now if you look at the selfie camera, it has a dual selfie camera, 20 plus 2 megapixel selfie camera. So that's the camera hardware of these two devices. So now let's analyze the camera samples and see which is the better choice in terms of the camera in the sub 20k price segment. First step, let's have a look at the video recording. Here both the smartphones can record videos in 1080p resolution as well as 4K is supported. 1080p resolution has support for both 30 and 60 fps, and there is stabilization offered on both the phones. The stabilization looks good on both the devices, but Poco X2 has a slight advantage in terms of the electronic image stabilization. Both the devices offer 4K at 30 fps with EIS support. The colors are natural and better on Moto Fusion Plus, but at the same time the video looks a bit over sharpened. We mentioned this in our camera review as well. Poco X2 has richer colors and a bit saturated at times, but overall quality definitely looks good. Next step, the daylight captures. Looking at the captures, you can see both offer good performance and details, and also sharpness levels are very good. The colors are quite different in many captures, as Poco goes for a warmer tone, which is quite evident with the MIUI processing. Moto on the other hand goes for natural colors and looks pleasing as well. Now if you zoom into the pictures, you could see that Moto offers slightly better details and sharpness levels towards the edges. The dynamic range looks good on both the phones. Looking at the daylight captures, Moto has done an impressive job in retaining the colors compared to the Poco X2, even though there is no clear winner. Both the devices have ultra-wide angle camera, and the images are decent on both the phones. The ultra-wide angle shots on Moto looks a bit too soft towards the edges, so here Poco X2 has slightly better overall details. Moving to the close-up shot, this is where things change drastically. As you can see, the colors on Poco X2 is a lot saturated, while Moto gets the colors accurate with better details too. This has been one of the issues with MIUI processing, especially with the reds and greens. Both the phones come with macro sensor and performs equally good. Here again, colors are natural on Moto. Both the phones are also capable of 1080p resolution macro videos. Next, the portrait shots. Here both the devices perform well, and skin tones are quite good on both the phones. Here Poco X2 has a better overall portraits with better sharpness levels and also better edge detection, as Moto did miss out on few edges. Now moving on to the low light performance. In artificially lit conditions indoors, both the phones really did well with good details and less noise. Now when light drops further, you can see Poco X2 offers brighter images with more details, and zooming in reveals more details on the Poco X2, but you can also see there is a bit of noise. But again, you need to consider these are not flagship smartphones. Now coming to the night mode, here we felt Poco X2 performed slightly better than the Moto Fusion Plus with better sharpness levels. So in terms of overall low light experience, probably Poco X2 with the Sony IMX686 sensor is our choice. Finally, the selfie experience. The Moto Fusion Plus has a 16 megapixel pop-up selfie camera, while the Poco X2 has a 20 megapixel dual selfie camera. Higher megapixels doesn't mean better photos, and this is clear from the images, as Moto did better in regular selfies. It has better skin tones, sharper selfies, and also slightly better dynamic range. While the selfies are more of a personal choice, we definitely like the selfie experience on the Moto One Fusion Plus. In terms of portrait selfies, here once again Poco wins because of the better edge detection offered. This is the front-facing camera sample taken with the Moto One Fusion Plus. It can record videos in 1080p resolution, so you can judge yourself how good the clarity of the video is and also the audio output from the front camera on the Moto One Fusion Plus. So this is the front-facing camera sample taken with the Poco X2, which can record videos in 1080p resolution. So you can judge yourself how good the clarity of the video is and also the audio output from the front camera on the Poco X2. So summing up, you could see that Moto has pulled a real winner in the form of One Fusion Plus with good camera hardware. The Moto One Fusion Plus isn't a perfect camera and it still needs a bit of fine tuning, especially for edge detection and also the video quality. Poco X2 has been one of the best camera smartphones below the 20k price segment for quite some time, and now we have a really good camera device in the form of Fusion Plus. The Fusion Plus has advantage in terms of daylight, close-up shots and selfie experience, while the Poco X2 leads in portraits, video recording, ultra-wide angle camera as well as low light experience. So it's definitely a tough job picking a winner here. So that is a detailed camera comparison of the two devices. So which one did you like? Do let us know in the comment section. So this is Nirmal signing off with a camera comparison of the Poco X2 with the Moto One Fusion Plus. Do hit that like button and also hit that subscribe button for more videos. Have a great day.